All right, I think the question was, what do you think the most important issue or issues are? As far as my personal life history, I've given that to Mike. If you need it, I can give it to you again.
Go ahead, do a little bit.
Yeah. All right, I was born in Newburgh. I served 3 years in the Army Security Agency. I spent most of my early career in broadcasting and news. I worked with the Associated Press for several years. Spent the second half of my career in financial services. Served on the Orange County Parks and Recreation Commission for about 14 years. Served on the Blooming Grove Town Board for 4 years, 3 as a council person, 1 as a supervisor. As far as I'm currently an independent insurance agent. As far as the issues, I think the reason, one of the reasons I'm here, and I think every candidate should have opposition, that's number one, is that what you're seeing and what you're hearing and what I'm hearing, I'm going to repeat to you what I'm hearing, and I think that's what the electorate wants to be put out in the open. Whether I'm in the street fair in Highland Falls, the strip mall in Chester, or the farmer's market in Kingston, I get the same unsolicited comments. We're concerned about taxes. We're concerned about the cost of living in general. You know, people are afraid of what they don't know, and they're uncertain about the future because of what's going on in the credit markets nationally, what's going on with their taxes locally. The first word out of their mouth, almost without exception, is property tax, especially school property tax. I talked to a car dealer in Highland Falls who said, I can't get credit to put cars on the lot. If I get credit to put cars on the lot, my customers or potential customers can't get the credit to buy my cars. If this keeps up for 2 or 3 or 4 or 6 months, I'm going to be out of business. And the guy's been in business for 20 or 30 years. And that, again, these are unsolicited. The other end of the spectrum is a single elderly woman in Kingston who has a home, says, I'm thinking about getting a reverse mortgage because I can't afford to live in my home anymore. I can't afford the taxes. I can't afford the upkeep, etc. Reverse mortgages are not a new thing, by the way. They've been in the marketplace for 20 years, but they've become very popular in the last few years, especially with that group of folks who are elderly, fixed income. So what you're doing is you're trading off your house to the bank or the lender in return for an income until you die. So you're removing that equity out of your estate. That's again part of the economic situation. And I think those are the things that are uppermost in people's minds. Those are the things that I constantly hear over and over and over again. It's not what I necessarily, not that I don't agree with them, but I'm repeating to you what I'm getting from the people in the street. I think the question was, how would you make cuts in the budget originally? And I don't disagree that you can't cut all the necessary services that the state provides, education, health care, and the rest, where you have to be very careful with those programs. But then the rest of the budget, if the governor, I think, is on the right track, he's calling people back into session because he wants to see where he can make cuts in the budget to save money, not necessarily to deny services, then with the rest of the budget, you have to go line item by line item and see what you can wring out of there that you don't absolutely have to spend. Okay. That's my answer on that question. Now, you said something about the gambling situation that Senator Larkin alluded to. I don't disagree that if we can use any of those facilities to help generate revenue for the state, that we should do that. I'm not as familiar with all the specifics on each one of these individual projects as he is, obviously, but I don't disagree that they could be positive as far as generating revenue to the state.
Okay. Do you have any other ideas for either revenue generation or expense reduction?
Expense reduction, again, is going to depend on what services you have to provide and you want to provide, and what the costs are, and then whatever else you're involved with as far as running the state, you're going to have to try to make economies. Again, as far as generating revenue, I mean that's gambling is one issue. There are a lot trying to bring more industry into the state. Obviously, the things that you always hear about all the time, trying to promote large employers, white-collar employers who generate good salaries so that you can get the money flowing through the economy. Anything that you can do to infuse money into the economy would be positive. I mean, I don't have a specific, idea of one specific project, but I think that's pretty much straightforward.